Welcome to the Friends of Fancy Benefits Baseball Podcast. I am Justin Mason, joined as always by Dave McDonald. Dave, how you doing?
All right, my friend. Just excited to get TGFBI underway, and hopefully the powers that be give us some good news on the season shortly, because we need something right now.
I'm scared. And I'll be honest, I've been Mr. Optimistic for a while. Not feeling so optimistic after the last couple of days. Really regretting the fact that I already bought my tickets for Vegas. Because I don't know what NFBC will do if the season's delayed a month.
That's the biggest concern, because a lot of us have already got plane tickets, where some of us are still waiting. You got to get a hotel. And, NFBC doesn't even know what they're doing, because I assume they can switch from the Bellagio to Park MGM like they did one year or something else. But if it's delayed a month or more, I know that they're not a fan of drafting a month before the season starts. They don't believe that that's a good business practice. So if that happens, it's all going to be moved to online, and we're all kind of nervous about that.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of a bummer. What is not a bummer is who is joining us right now.
Oh, God.
And maybe we will have other guests joining us at some point. And if you're in TGFBI and you're watching this, feel free to DM me or jump into the chat right here, and I will potentially send you a link if you want to come and talk about your team. But we're joined by Mike Kurland of The Athletic. Am I the first person who's gotten to say this on air? And he's muted.
And he's muted.
What a debut. Yeah. Yeah, no, man, you are. And it's surreal, but thank you, man. It's, as well as anybody, I've been trying at just hoping to find one of these types of gigs, and not that, let me come in, you cowards. Sorry, Nick caught my attention there. But it was one of those things. It's it's surreal. Still doesn't feel all that real. I mean, yeah, you can see my first article on the site and everything. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm still taking it in,
I prefer you on mute.
Most people do. I bet you I bet you there's more people that follow me that mute me than don't. I guarantee you. It's a ratio of at least 55% mute me on Twitter.
Nah.
That seems about right. I don't know. You give out some pretty good line of advice. I was talking to Matt Williams today on the TGFBI podcast, and your name came up, and we were talking about your spring training lineup tracker. How much are you pulling your hair out that spring training hasn't started yet?
When I was offered, hey, by the way, we want you at the Athletic for spring training stuff, I was like, really, this year? This is the year that I'm going to be brought in for spring training? I'm not going to say no to the opportunity, but holy crap. And I said crap because Nick Pollock just joined us. And this dropped. Hey, how's it going?
Thank you so much.
Holy crap, because I was like, sweet, I'm not going to take this off. I'm not going to say no to the offer, of course. But I'm nervous, obviously, because my main draw and the reason why I was brought on was strongly based around those spring training, the chart, and the whole thing, and doing articles are based around that. However, I do them in season with a little bit of a twist. What I do is I break down the lineup changes in season, and I put a little fantasy fallout section for every team discussing the trends of players, what's led to these changes. He's leading off. Well, he's done this since he's been starting leading off. Or, hey, maybe he's going to move up the lineup because over his last 14, he's hitting this way. So there's a different function and use for lineup monitoring in season. And I do change my layout of the articles and approach in season to fit that. But it's just one of those things that people know me for spring training, so I'm not going to argue with the results. But I am multifaceted. I do in season too when I actually pay attention, beyond half the way there. Yeah.
Well, I'm very, very happy for you. I sent you a text earlier.
Yes, you did. I appreciate that.
It's amazing news. You got hired. John Legeza is going back there as well. So
yeah, big John O.
Yeah, pretty awesome pickups.
Congrats to both of you guys.
Somewhat joining us right now is Nick Pollock. He's apparently walked away. So what we're going to do is we're going to start breaking down where we'll start talking about our teams. And we'll start with Mike Kurland's team in League 11, which has been easily the fastest league. They're already in round 7.
It's nuts.
There we go. Nick Pollock is here, and he's wearing the shirt, the TGFBI shirt. There we go, baby.
I imagine that's why he left real quick.
Yes.
I I saw your shirt, and I literally just took it out of the packaging because I didn't want to wear it until it was TGFBI time.
I wore it the day I got it, and then I spilled ketchup on it the moment like I ate something.
I would have done
the most
that
Justin thing ever.
Yeah, and then while I was making dinner tonight, I spilled mustard on it. So it just I'm a fucking mess when I'm wearing.
Do you eat hot dogs for every meal?
No, I made holy yum chicken, which I don't. If you've never had it, look up the recipe. It is the best chicken dish you will ever eat.
If it isn't yum, then it just feels wrong. Then, right?
Is it Chinese?
No.
Okay.
It is amazing. And it's really, really easy to make. So highly recommend it.
And I imagine it includes ketchup and/or mustard.
It includes Dijon mustard, maple syrup,
artisanal ketchup.
Yeah, rice wine, vinegar.
Wait, Dave. Have you had artisanal ketchup?
No. No.
Yeah, neither have I. It sounds terrible. No.
I don't think it is. But if it might be, who knows? But let's talk to Mike, why don't you run down your team real quick? You are picking from the 12 spot. And like I said, you guys are in the 7th round. You have not made your 7th round pick. So lay out your team for us first.
Wait, which team are you?
12.
He is 12.
Okay.
Oh, my son just walked in the room too. Go ahead, lay down, buddy. So I started off. I got Burns, and I was okay with that. yeah.
Hey, Richard. Good to see you.
We're not even that far, Rich. I'm not even that far.
Yeah.
I understand how lucky we are. We have a great group. We have a group DM going on right now, and no one is even tagging anybody. We have a couple guys. The best part is we're doing this with a couple guys in other countries. That's what makes it more impressive right now.
Wow.
We have two. We have someone in Israel and somebody I think in the UK. I'm not sure.
Is Daniel Fox the guy in Israel?
I don't believe so. I'm terrible with names. I have to go look at. I know I have 15 people in this team. In this.
I mean, that's the only person I know from the community who lives in Israel. But they're
this person just moved there. Actually, they were from New York.
What's up? Ben Pernick, right?
I believe so. Actually.
Oh, you have Ben Pernick. Oh my God! Wait! Ben Pernick and I were college roommates.
What?
That's why, and he was one of the first writers with me at Pitcher Gifts, and he's done the buy and sell for like 5 straight years now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I remember him tweeting something last night about being in Israel, and so.
He just moved to Israel. I was like, I should have put 2 and 2 together that you were talking about Pernick. He is better at puns than I am by far. I'm terrible. He's actually good at them.
It got to a point now because we don't. It's gotten to a point because we are so good at like setting our cues. Like right now, if Team 11 picks, I'll auto draft my top guy because we just set cues and we're rolling. And it's nice to do that. It's nice because now we're at a point where we're sharing dog pictures in our DMs.
Is there such a thing as being good at puns, Nick?
Yes, there is.
Dave, this is why you've never. Yeah. This is why you've never been good at puns. Clearly,
or just good. Like you just leave it there.
Sense.
Good.
I mean, wait, hold on a second. What is your Twitter handle?
Mine?
Yes.
Run D McD.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. That's a pun because you get it. You see, because DMC, but it's not. It's.
You're giving him too much credit. I don't think he thought that much through or that much into it.
I was trying hard. Okay, fine. Anyway, I do want to say quickly, congratulations, Mike, man. That's awesome.
Appreciate it,
athletic.
Mike.
And I actually really meant congratulations being in the 7th round. But
that's too. Hey,
no,
I'll
seriously.
Take either.
No, it's awesome. I mean, well deserved, man. The amount of time it takes to do those lineups, and you've been working your butt off for years. So it's really cool to see you there, man.
I'm working so hard that all this laundry's piled up right there for me to fold that when I'm done here. Actually, that's what you see in the background. Whole bunch of laundry ready to fold. That's all the kids' laundry because I neglect my family for this stuff. But
that sounds about right. Yeah.
Don't we all? No,
Justin understands that.
Yeah. But back we should reel this back in. And so round 7, I'm looking at a team where obviously Logan Webb fell to me late in the 5th. I was happy to pair him as my SP2 with Burns. And I obviously got my saves around before with Presley. So I feel strong with the pitching. And I have to get out of my DC mindset because I'm very big on draft champions formats. So I have to realize that there's fab here. I could be a little more patient. Maybe I could have passed on saves and just kind of taken what fell to me. But right now I'm looking at a team where it's like kind of like I feel strong in pitching and meandering on like offense. Like Semien, I'm not really fading him. I looked at his hit chart, and because of his approach, Semien has a very pull heavy fly ball approach. And if you look at his home runs from last year, like the 41 he hit or whatever it was, those would have been out.
45, I think.
What was it?
I think it's 45.
It was something over, regardless, it was over 40, but thanks. I mean, you're probably right. But my point was, I guess my point is all 45 would have gone out in every single ballpark in that division, and they're all bad ballparks at this point. So the point being is that Simeon's power, although I still expect it to regress, I don't think it will regress as much as many of us might think. And that goes, and he's doing this while going to a team with the Rangers that runs as much, if not the most, up the top 2 or 3 in the league the last couple seasons. So I feel comfortable taking him for the power and speed, knowing that I know batting average could be iffy and the the counting stats might not be great because it's the Rangers, but I guess you should still expect 90 RBIs, 90 runs. Look, Nathaniel Lowe put up 100 RBIs on that team last year, close to it. So I'm not too concerned, depending, unless Simeon leads off, which is possible. So I'm looking at Simeon, Machado. I feel good there. Got Brandon Lau. Again, batting average is kind of a question. I have some power, not enough speed, but I'm looking here. Team 11's gonna. I hope they don't snipe me, but you guys saw the top of my queue, so I'll leave it at that. But it's I'm looking at a hitter here. I'll say that much. That's gonna help me, kind of help bring some of it together, and then might need to target some speed as we go. But so far,
are you afraid the guy on the clock is listening right now? Is that why we're not?
That's why I can't say the name, yeah, because who I really want is it helps with batting average and power more than speed. But I am afraid that I do want speed. I plan on I'm saying too much already, saying that I want 2 hitters here. So the person on the clock, if they want a hitter, they're going to take one from me. And the people behind me, if they need hitters, they're going to be like, well, we know Curlin wants another one on the way back.
Well, they're going to be. I mean, the people behind you are taking 2 picks before your next pick anyway.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm afraid. I'm not afraid to say one. I don't know. I'm looking at this team. I'm hoping Team 11 just takes a closer and leaves. And they already have 2 outfielders. If you look at my team, you can clearly see if I'm taking a hitter. I'm likely looking at outfield right now because I don't have one yet. Meanwhile, you have
lead them off base. Not to mention, the second you stop talking, they're going to make a pick. So
yes,
just so we're
that's
clear.
it though.
How do you talk for that long without taking a breath?
Oh, I breathe in the nose, baby. In the nose, out the mouth. It's an old sport tactic, thing you do when you actually play instead of just watch.
Are you serious?
Oh.
I played sports.
Wow.
Sorry.
Get out of here.
Yeah, well, I'm done. I just looked at my team real quick, and like I said, I think I can. I was looking ahead at the picks because we're entering that time in the 7th or 8th round. I know most of you guys aren't here yet. Be envious. I want you to be envious of me. Right?
Not even close.
Yeah.
But we're entering the time where, okay, the core of my team is kind of being built, and now I can start taking picks that just fit team need. I think batting average might ultimately be a bit of a weakness, but if I can be strong everywhere else, I feel comfortable taking on one weakness, entering a league with Fab and all that.
Is Cubby Knoll joining us via potato? What the hell is going on over there?
Via potato. I think he's in a bathroom, like a storm shelter of sorts or something.
You don't need to see me. You don't need to see me. It's quite all right.
I think he's in a Cubby Knoll. I think that's where.
There it is.
Honestly.
Bingo.
That's how he got his name.
We're in round 3. It's pathetic and sad, and I want to shoot myself in the face.
What the
Well, join the
I'm
club.
right there with you.
That's where I am too.
We just
Don't
got
do
into
that.
round 3 in mine.
Yeah.
So
Guys, it's all about inspiring your Twitter DM group. Really.
We'll get to you guys, but first let's. I want to get to Nick's team real quick, and let's give him a chance to kind of cover what he's doing there. If I can share the screen, what was your draft spot, Nick?
So I had 13, and my whole idea was that I liked essentially the first 17 or 16 picks or so, something around there, or maybe. And I was kind of hoping to go for 14 to 15, but I was like, all right, maybe I'll get what I want at 18. And I kind of did. Betts and Trout, to me, I think is just a really strong start. I'm not as concerned as everyone else is about Trout. Sorry, Dave, about the risk and injury. Anyone who's ever been on the IL. So I'm oh God, Trout. Oh man. But he's Mike Trout. And yeah, he won't steal as many bases. But I mean, the idea that he isn't essentially like the best hitter in baseball when he's playing is, I don't know. It's Mike Trout. It's Mookie Betts plus. Oh, hey, I just had Nick Castellanos go. Look at that. Kind of on my radar there, but I didn't really want to go third outfielder because I generally feel that outfield is the easiest one to fill, as you guys all know, in season. And I have a lot of holes to fill. It's kind of funny. I originally was like, oh yeah, absolutely Betts here because he's second base eligible. And then right before I picked Betts, I thought, wait a second, no, he's not. That's only in Yahoo. And I was about to go Albies, and I was like, no, I convinced myself into Betts anyway. So I still went with that. Matt Olson in the third. I didn't want that. I wanted one of Trevor Story or Semyon, who went the 2 picks before. So awesome times in Pollock High here. And I did the silly thing that I absolutely hate, but I think it was the right move of getting Iglesias in the 4th. I hate this. Why has the world made us do this?
Why do you hate that?
Blame the owners.
That's a phenomenal pick there.
If the owners allowed baseball, we would have more closer situations solidified and closers.
I guess that's it. It's
so
just
blame the owners.
Yes, but I remember this happening. Hendricks in the 2nd round was my pitcher list mock in October of a 12-teamer. Like this was what was going on before we had any sort of concrete feeling. Oh, there goes no, not Polanco. All right, I know what my next pick is. If Crawford won't take. Okay, there you go.
Oh,
I am going to be taking Corey Seager then. Because I am not going to get stuck with.
Well, Raisel Iglesias.
No, wait, I'm not. Because I realized that they have Bogarts and Lindor. They're not going to take Seager, right?
I mean, when you already have Betts and Trout, a good way to back that up is by drafting another big injury risk. So take Seager.
And another guy who doesn't steal bases.
No, taking Lance Lynn.
There you go.
Good choice.
Good choice.
I stopped. No, the plan is I just want to get a shortstop.
Much better choice.
Yeah, well, I'm shocked that you feel this way.
Nick, I think you'll be I think you'd be okay if you pass on shortstop here. Honestly, I think you'd be happy with what.
There's a lot of shortstop depth left.
I don't have a second baseman or shortstop, so I essentially have to get 3 of those middle infielders.
That's what happens when you start outfield, first base.
Thanks so much, Dave.
You also,
wow,
that's that hardy hitting analysis for you.
What an amazing, yeah, okay.
You also have like 25 stolen bases in your first 5 rounds.
Maybe.
So,
all right, maybe.
We might make a decision here. Anyway, I'm thrilled with Lance Lynn this late. Lance Lynn is absurdly good at 73.
Listen, man,
I
the
feel
age
so
is gonna.
old. It's like squinting in to read like the number overall here. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this is fine. Everything is fine. I got to figure out middle infield and stuff.
Everything is fine. The world is burning around me.
But this is the thing, though. After 5 rounds, like. It's hard if you don't like your team after 5 rounds. It's like, what? They're all good players. You should feel fine about it. I need to determine exactly, really who I want down in like the 17th and 18th round because that's the
serious question. Method. Nick, you typically play in 10 and 12s, right? Like that's what you play a lot of.
Not just mostly 12s. I don't really touch 10s. Yeah.
The reason why I ask is because going from 12 to 15 is a big jump and it's a big change. And honestly, like. I used to not play 15s a lot. When I used to jump into them, I'd be like, I'm a little overwhelmed because I never felt comfortable through 5 because I'm used to better teams. I'm just so used to stacking 12 teamers are just so like when you have a comfort level in a certain.
The good news is that TGFBI exists.
Yes.
And I've been playing it a lot more, and I'm actually debating if I'm going to be trying an NFBC this year.
Do a DC, man.
Pairing with Scott Chu, who's an amazing hitting guy. So the 2 of us combined should take down the world.
Or 5th place.
I'll take 5th place overall in the main event.
Joking.
Thank you so much.
Overall, there it is.
Yeah,
there it is.
That's clearly what you meant, right, Kurland?
Of course I didn't. I mean, yes.
You would never suggest otherwise.
Never.
But no, I don't know. I'm talking about my team. It's fine. It's good. I'm having a wonderful crew and people, and I feel like this is going to be an amazing team. And whatever. I came in 60th last year, so that's good.
I've never broken top 400, so who can tell you anything?
Shazam!
But
bow down, Mike. No, sorry.
I will. But no, I really just no. I'll see you in person in Arizona, and I will bow in a bikini.
Things I don't want for 400. Oh my god!
No. Everyone just threw up in their mouth a little bit.
Let's talk about their teams. I want to hear about their teams.
All right,
about their teams.
Let me get the next team.
Yeah, they moved. They moved.
I dare you.
No, I wanted to just bring that up because a lot of people might not play 15s, and if you're not comfortable in the first few rounds, that's kind of a normal feeling, is what I'm getting at, is all.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe I'm not trying to speak to how you feel. I'm speaking in general.
No, in many ways, I'm excited about 15 teamers because there's so many times in 12s I'm like, oh, I really like this guy, but there's no reason for me to get that guy in 12 teamers. Just there are more better options. So I'm excited, about my Tyler Beatty, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That probably won't draft, but I was just like 650, stupid. That shouldn't be the case. It should be like 450. That's
the draft I've just put up, I believe, is Sam's.
That's mine. Yeah.
Sam, you started from the 15 slot. It looks like you went
14.
You're from the 14 spot?
Yeah.
All right. So it looks like you went Devers, Woodruff, O'Neal, and Real Muto. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I went into this draft feeling like there was some kind of a codec or code that I had to decipher to get the right players. And I felt like third base and catcher were talked about the last few months very intensively. And so I went after Devers and immediately had regret when Ohtani and Trout went after that. I really wanted Trout there, but I can't trust that he's going to play the whole season. So I felt like Devers was a better pick for my first round. I went with Woodruff just because he seems to be one of those guys that's still young enough to pitch 200 innings over and over for a few seasons, kind of like Matt Cain in the early 2010s. And I was really excited about that. And then I realized I didn't have steals or outfielders. And so I went with O'Neal and Real Muto. I really debated about doing Buxton there, but again, I didn't feel comfortable with his health the last few years, so I didn't want to waste that high of a pick on him.
Are we allowed to say that, Nick, or should we not disparage Buxton's track record with health?
Buxton, I'm terrified of. I'm also terrified of Ohtani. But
I have such a FOMO of Buxton though. Like I need to get him at least on one team. I have none right now. I have like 7 or 8.
Dave, it's not like you don't take any. It's not just.
I think Dave's okay. Like, hey, like Curlin, you want to take one? Just take him in the league I'm in is what he's asking me to do. But
well, it's like, also my view is also more nuanced than anybody who's ever been on the IL before, Nick.
I'm just saying,
not that much more nuanced.
Oh yeah,
no. Really, O'Neal is just as injury prone as Buxton is. I mean, like I'm a Cardinals fan, so I see it. It's just people don't think about that because they only think about the one season of O'Neal so far. But they don't think about the 3 seasons of him being hurt and barely playing to get to where he was last year.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But he made it through the whole season last year better than what we expected, and I think he's going to outperform his peripherals again this year. I felt pretty good about him. Maybe, I'm a Mariners
he stays healthy.
Yeah,
I actually really like the team, Sam. I think you are a little bit light in speed. But I like the average floor you're going to get from Devers and Real Muto to offset if O'Neal hurts your average. Love Woodruff. Be interested to see what closers make it back to you, but it doesn't seem like your league has gone closer crazy yet, like some other leagues.
No, and I debated taking Clase there instead of Real Muto. I'm just big on Clase. I think that he has a chance to do some really great things the next few years, and I think he's solidified into an everyday closer job. I think that the Guardians, that's how they're going to run their closers. And so I was really debating on whether or not to take Real Muto or Clase there, but I wanted the catcher. And I feel like he gave me the best of all 5 categories. So.
Yeah, I absolutely like it a lot. Let's see who, Tim, what league number are you in?
I'm in League 10. We just got into round 3, so
okay. So you'll be a quicker one.
yeah. We had a guy fall asleep in the first round on pick 4. So
what day is this, man?
Yeah.
It's not like this has been promoted the whole weekend or weeks.
It's
before.
not like we have any baseball coming up soon, so don't worry about it.
Whoa, wet blanket, Nick. Stop it. We're getting a deal done this week, all right?
You know what? Thank you for that. I needed, I'm normally the one trying to bring it up, okay? It's just...
I get it. Trust me. Mr. Spring Training here gets it.
Yeah.
That's like 90% of my content, and it's like gone.
Tim, why don't you go ahead and let us know what team you are and how you started?
Yeah, so I'm Team 10, and actually, this is my first position in my KDS because I was aiming for Acuna, because I have Acuna as my number one player still, regardless of the injury. One thing that I always talk about in my podcast is that people always think about, the Acuna injury, but then the same people are ready to pick Tatis first, and he's got the shoulder thing. So like the shoulder thing for Tatis scares me almost as much as whatever playing time Acuna could miss at the beginning of the year. So like, to me, it's like, it's 1A, 1B. They're both have injury potential, but he's my number one player. And so like, I've been getting him in like the 9-10 spot. So I was like, I might as well pick, back there and then get a better player coming back around in the second round. And I can get an ace in the second round paired with Acuna. That was my thoughts anyway. But then I got sniped on him at 9. And so I kind of had in that tier, I had like Acuna, Harper, Ohtani. I was like, I'm going to get one of those 3. So I ended up with Ohtani, who was my third choice out of them. And then coming back around, I have Buehler as my third starter. So I was pretty happy to get Walker Buehler there coming back around. And then you can see this dude here, Team 1, pick kind of pocket catchers. Like, if you want to check that out, he picked catcher in second, third on the turn, which was kind of cool, but pretty interesting strategy there, I think.
He's going straight off SGP.
Yeah, for sure. And probably coming back around here, like someone might be watching, but I'll probably be going 2 hitters coming back around here. And my third and fourth pick, because there's a lot of pitchers I like in like the rounds like 6 to 10 range. So it's like I might as well just load up on hitters until I get to around that range, is the way I see it. Totally. So I guess I kind of like copy Nick like that, where I'm like, all right, I'll get some of those pitchers like further back. So and
don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
Get my hitters up front. Yeah.
Forget about it.
Says the guy who took Buehler in the second. But you know what? It's all right. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, win in Rome. So
Tim, I got to ask you, because this is something I think I talked about recently on Sleeper in the Bus, which is I don't feel particularly comfortable starting with Ohtani in the first round. Not because I don't think he's a great talent. I do think he's a great talent. Mostly because I feel comfortable starting with a UT only player in the first round. Obviously you did, so you must be comfortable. Have you done it yet this season? Or is this your first attempt at it?
This is my first time getting Ohtani in redraft. I do a lot of dynasty, so I got a lot of Ohtani there. But in redraft, this is my first time getting him. And, I kind of felt the same way because I've been liking like Nelson Cruz's value. Like I'll wait for Nelson Cruz to drop and fill in my utility down in round 12 or 13 or 14 or wherever he's going. So, that sucks that I blocked that spot off, and it sucks not having a position there. But I guess the good thing to think about in a league like this is that Ohtani is still position. He has other positions he's eligible for. I mean, like if for some reason I mess up and I, crap the bed in pitching, I still have Ohtani as an option to fill in pitching if Buehler gets hurt or I lose a bunch of starters in injury and then I'm doing all right on offense. I have that position eligibility to move Ohtani to pitcher, which you don't really get with any other player. So it's nice to get position eligibility in leagues where, it's a 15-team league like you guys were talking about. Playing a 15-team league, if you're not used to it, it can be a little difficult. And like I've done some DCs, and I see like later in the draft, it's hard to fill some of those positions like middle infielder, corner infielder, or whatever. So it is going to stifle me later, but at least he's multi-position eligible in like a weird way because it's pitcher, so you don't really think about it. But like it's there, so it's better than getting someone who's just utility and I can't move them to doing something else if the event calls for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how your team rounds itself out. Tim, where can you reach on social media, and then kind of plug what you work? You're a newer guy in the industry.
Yeah, I'm at Fantasy Ace Ball is my Twitter handle. I have the Fantasy Ace Ball podcast, and I'm writing also on Friends with Fantasy Benefits, and I'm writing about basically I created kind of like a skills-based algorithm that I call the F scores for fantasy scores. So basically, like I'm taking mostly StatCast stuff, and I try to create kind of like an OPS plus model where 100 is league average. And then so if someone's 115, that means they're 15% better. And I did that for hitters and pitchers. So I have skills like plate discipline or contact rate or power or speed for hitter, or like stuff or control or the ability to limit damage. I call it FERA for pitchers. But basically I made this algorithm called the F scores. And you can check out the rankings for free over on Friends with Fantasy Benefits. Anyone can go out and check out my rankings and see where certain guys rank in these scores, but it's all skills based. And kind of the goal is that people play in different types of leagues. Not everybody plays in all roto. You know, people play in like OBP or points leagues or whatever, where like plate discipline is more important than like batting average in some of those leagues. So that's kind of where I got the idea, is that not everybody plays in the same type of leagues. So people who are making custom home leagues where they're playing with different categories or, you know, points or whatever, it gives them an opportunity to sort and rank by, hey, I'm weak here, or I want to work here, or whatever, or, you know, I need this category. It helps them search by something like that. And then I called out Ariel Cohen, so I got him in my league because I wanted to take my aggregate against his ATC, and I'm like, let's do it, you know. Put the rookie against the vet here and see what happens.
All right, what team is Ariel? So we can
He's
roast
team
him a little bit.
6.
He's team 6. So he started off Soto Wheeler. That's a pretty damn good start. But that's only 2 picks. I think everybody should have a pretty damn good start.
Now quick question, Tim. First of all, you got to pin that F score stuff on your Twitter timeline, because I just went and found it, but you got to do it. This is awesome. Love it.
Thanks.
It sounds very aggressive, as if you're upset about scores. You know, like F scores. You know, I'm like, F stuff, man.
Yeah.
All right.
You couldn't publish this on Pitcher List because
not
of
gonna
that,
happen.
But you
Never
can
gonna
publish
happen.
it on Friends with Fantasy Benefits.
Now-
We don't give a fuck.
It's the
Now,
closest Nick's gonna come to swearing.
Quick question. What is the weighted aggregate of F stuff?
Okay, so F stuff, basically I've got CSW mixed in there.
That's all. You
with-
can stop right now. Yeah, that's all I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
was
I've
that-
got,
no, I'm just
I've got
kidding.
CSW. I have velocity. You know, off the top of my head, I can't remember everything else I have in there.
K minus
but,
walk rate.
Yeah, I have K minus walk. I've got a couple others in there, but it's, you know, basically
You're speaking
each
Nick's
one of
language.
these take like 4 or 5. I try to keep it simple. I don't have like 100 different things thrown in there, so I keep it to like 4 or 5. But you know, the thing is, a lot of the stats we have, like CSW, already takes into account. It already takes a lot of like the BS out of, you know, some of the other stats that don't really matter as much.
Now, stuff like this, I absolutely adore a lot of it. So I love that you're throwing it at the wall, kind of be like, cool, I want to see all these things together, because I think aggregate stats like that can actually do some wonders. I mean, yeah, we had like Carlos Mercado make one with specs that, you know, got nominated for an FSWA because of that, right? So, like, I love this stuff. You got, promote it, showcase it, keep going with it, man. I think it's really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, and I try to do it in a way where it's weighted too, so you can see like percentile differences against like league average. So, I mean, like, obviously, the further down you go, you see there's guys that are like under 1, and you know, like in a league like this, we're gonna be drafting some of those guys,
right?
But and you know, if you're in a 10 or 12 team league, it's like, okay, you know, I think like stats like that, like OPS plus, and you know, the ones that are weighed based on a scale of 100, it's very easy for someone who's not, you know, super into fantasy baseball like us to follow something like that, more than trying to learn like all the cool stats that, like, you know, you and I might be into, but other people, they're just not going to take the time. So
definitely.
I have 2 things real quick. Sorry, Justin. Worth interrupting you, by the way, as the host. One is going back to Ohtani. If you want to hear a smart person that built a team around Ohtani, or at least gave good reasoning behind it, Rob DiPietro on SP Streamers Pod. As much as I hate Simeone, it was a good pod episode.
Why do you keep saying this about? I know you love him.
No,
I want to hear your love.
Loathe him, Nick. Get it right. I live to loathe with Simeone.
No.
Anyways, though, it's a really good friendship Mike and I have, but it is what it is.
I want to hear more of that.
But we've taken on this persona of straight up hating each other, and it's great. It comes out naturally. It's weird. It comes out naturally. But no. But in all seriousness,
it reminds me of a lot of me and my wife.
That's you know what? Our sleeping arrangement reminded me a lot of that too.
I
I'm
miss
sure.
Danielle. Why isn't she on here? That'll be great.
Danielle's back actually went out on Friday.
Oh, no.
She's been laid up pretty much all weekend.
Oh my God, that sucks.
And she went into work today with the hope that they would just send her home because she's walking around
and
like
Quasimodo.
No, they made her work an 11-hour shift.
Oh my God.
So
you should now shove a camera in her face is what you should do right now.
It's easier to hide your drafts from her because she can't walk around and look over your shoulder. I like it.
Yeah. Can you take another photo of her holding a pillow of you right now? Can you do that?
Also,
I'm sure I could. She's I hope she's off of her feet right now. And
she's talking. She's talking in the chat right now.
She's literally looking at me through the door right now, pointing at me.
What's up, Danielle? Good to see you. Hope you're feeling better.
And just to make everybody jealous, I want everybody to envy me right now. We just since we started this pod, we've entered round 8, and I've made 2 picks. So. We are in round 8. I've made 2 picks, Justin.
I've actually made 2 picks since we started as well.
Mike.
A pick hasn't been made.
My league will make no progress.
I want to hear Sam. I want to hear Sam.
Sam, by the way, he was number 3. Kyle, I see a little Brock Lesnar going on there for Sam.
What am I doing?
I see a little Brock Lesnar with the beard and the hair. Like, it's just the angles give me a Brock Lesnar vibe in a good way. I feel like you're gonna kick my ass.
I'm prepping for this winter. I'm going to be Santa Claus again for the 19th year, and so I'm trying to get this to come out all gray.
Well, I got the belly, so I got tips for that. I got you, man.
I got the belly and the gray's coming in pretty good as well. Sam, let people know where you can be reached on social media, and then plug your work because you're newer in the industry as well.
Absolutely. So my handle on the screen is where I'm at Twitter at SamFBB1. I'm coming out with a podcast. I've interviewed a couple people. I've interviewed Justin. I've interviewed Mike Kurland. I've interviewed your wife, Al Melchior, Vlad Sedler, and we're going to be doing Peace, Love, Baseball. It's kind of my response to all the shit that's going on in the world. I want to get back to having conversations with people where we can stop fighting about politics and religion and daily events and get back to the conversations about what we love about baseball. And I'm doing some writing with the Dynasty Guru, which is a lot of fun because 20 years ago, I got into fantasy baseball playing a keeper dynasty league. And it's really fun to dream about prospects. And my company sponsors the Everett Aqua Sox. So this year I'm going to be watching a lot of Mariners prospects come through. And I just love baseball and talking about it. So.
And you're joining Scarf this year in the Earth League.
Yeah, well, if we are able to actually have a draft and they do things, I've got plane tickets and hotels paid for to go down to LA. I'm really looking forward to that.
That's awesome.
I sold it as a vacation to my wife. I said, hey, let's go to LA. So I can do a draft and you can sit by a pool. She bought it. So.
You're a pro. You know how to do it.
All right. I'm going to share Cubby Knowles' draft now.
There's not much to share.
As we will see here in a second. Is this
all right,
correct?
Potato?
Is
what
this
you
correct?
got?
You guys just entered the 4th round?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Okay.
I'm way further along than Tim. I have one more pick.
You're smoking us. And the guy who's drafting on the clock in my league right now is in the UK, so he's snoozing. So we're not making it any further.
No, there's one guy I've beeped twice. I'm like, if I have to beep at you a third freaking time after an hour, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Cubby, what team number are you?
Team 7 wasn't my top priority. I wanted a top 4 pick, but I think I've done too many DCs because I came to this thinking I'd go with an ABC strategy, but I'm like, no, there's Fab, you moron. You can't do that. But with that in mind, I did start with an ace and then got my stolen bases with Martay. And then I thought about grabbing a closer until, of course, Hendricks and Hader went bye-bye. So I decided to pair Power Judge with Starling there. But I was actually torn on Cole and Burns. I just lazily went with volume, assuming he'd get more innings pitched, therefore more strikeout. But I really wanted Macho, but Zimmerman is an asshole and took him two picks before me. That's who I really wanted. I'm gonna stop listening to Launch Angle because of that draft pick he made. But beyond that, I mean, there's 3 picks. There's not much to talk about. I got an ace, I got speed, I got power. Spoiler alert: I'm probably taking a closer next round. So
there you go.
That's about it. Yeah.
Remind everywhere you can reach on social media, and then plug what you do.
At CUBBYNOLE, I occasionally do work on fantasy front office and the commissioner's office. I'm more of a barnacle on the whole of the fantasy baseball industry. I just like to hang around and draft with experts like you guys because I like to stand on the shoulders of giants. But occasionally I do something, mostly just a lot of silly tweets and videos.
And troll MTM.
And trolling. And also I wanted to say, I don't know if he's watching, but if Kev RotoSurge is watching, I took Starling just in spite of him because we had this back and forth yesterday.
I saw that.
So
apparently, for what it's worth, guys, I guess the MLB is expected to make another proposal within 30 minutes. This was 15 minutes ago from Heyman. I know Heyman isn't the most trustworthy, but it looks like they're still working, and it's almost 11 o'clock tonight.
It looks like they're taking the Monday deadline pretty seriously, which is nice to see.
Which is weird. Okay, but Justin was actually, I remember I heard you, I think it was Sleeper on the Bus, when you said you've been kind of thinking like they might do the whole 2-day thing again because they did this in 2020.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, everybody's like, oh no, if we haven't had spring training start yet, then the season's definitely going to be delayed. And I know they set a deadline for today, but they did put the 2020 season together 2 days before it started. Now, they can't do that now, right? Because there needs to be at least 2 to 3 weeks of spring training for guys to ramp up. But if we don't have a deal by March 6th or 7th, then the season's delayed.
Yes.
But until that point, I'm not like pulling my hair out necessarily. I'm definitely not as encouraged as I was a few days ago. I think now I'm at a point where it's like, okay, they might really fuck this up.
Well, no, see, now I have renewed hope because of all like how much they made today. Today gave me renewed hope that we get a deal by the end of the week.
The problem is they all know like kind of where they need to meet.
Yes.
And it seems like the players are pushing towards that and the owners are not.
Because they're trying to look like good faith when really they just want to take some games off the table, not pay full salaries while getting expanded playoffs. We know what they're trying to do. Like it's pretty obvious.
It's about as short-sighted as you can be.
And they think we're idiots, or they blatantly don't care, which is crazy.
Let's see. Who has it? Dave, welcome to the show.
What's going on, guys?
What league are you in, Dave?
6.
All right, so let me find yours. And what pick number did you have in, or do you have in League 6?
The one that stands out on the draft board, the 14 spot.
You'll know it when you see it.
Go lucky number 14.
Did you want the 14 spot, or
did not.
You just ended up there? It doesn't seem like many people want the back of the draft.
I did. All right. I don't know. I think it's kind of good.
Gopi is the only guy I know who always likes.
Oh wow! Okay, so this is the draft.
I told you know when you saw it.
About. Oh my god! Okay, here we go. So
Love it.
And I don't know that we have a term for this yet. I think they should be pocket nines because you're getting pocket closers. You took Hendricks 14th, Hader in the second round for back-to-back closers. Your only pick so far. Please talk about this.
I mean, I've always been a relief pitcher early guy. I've done it a lot already in DCs this season where I've gotten the 2 of them at the 2-3 turn. I think I got that pairing in like 3 DCs already. Wanted to get at least one of them early. I don't love a lot of what's there at the back end of the first round, early second round. I mean, the other options I considered there, maybe Luis Robert, maybe Zach Wheeler, Brandon Woodruff. I think I can get enough of a similar profile to those guys at the 3-4 turn. And I don't like the closers that are going to be there at the 3-4 turn. I think those 2 specifically, they just give such a huge base in everything with ratios, wins with Hendricks, the way La Russa uses him, strikeouts, and just I'm not gonna have to be chasing saves in Fab all year. So that's something else that I hate to be doing. So.
I've got the name. I've got it.
All right, I want to hear it.
Reformed Christian because they've been saved twice.
Oh, you.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm not using that.
We're not touching that one.
That is fantastic.
He comes on our podcast. He won't swear, but he'll bring up religion. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
What's
But
wrong?
the-
There's
but the-
nothing making
but the best-
fun of it or
It's the
anything.
best
That's
part,
like
Dave. The best part is that Justin's like, nah, I'm good.
No, yeah. I'm not touching that
there's
shit.
nothing.
That's like the crazy. That's the crazy part of this. Not the fact that he
All right,
came
Nick,
on
we're
here.
gonna have to ask you to
curse.
leave if you can't.
Wow.
Get under control. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Wow, you guys.
I'm not
Alright.
touching that one, Nick.
Yeah,
That was
So
funny,
Dave, I have a question for you.
Sure.
What do
Oh,
you
God.
think about the speed coming back though? When you go like, pocket closers or Reformed Christian or whatever you call it.
When you
I
go
mean,
Reformed Christian,
Don't
you-
encourage him. Don't encourage him.
So I do have
When
some
you
speed
get it out,
options
what
that
do
I
you
like
do with
there.
Speed? Like, what's
Yeah,
your-
but I
what's
mean,
your plan?
obviously, Mondesi
Here
in
comes
round 4 could
Mondesi.
fix everything, right?
Oh, such a fallacy.
No, there's some guys I like there.
you know what? I think we have.
Hold
I
on,
think we need.
Team Nine's about to time out here. I wanted to see where they
Ooh,
went.
That's a good timeout pick.
Yeah, right.
I'll take it.
We
Dave,
need to,
is Kendall Martay okay instead of Seager? That's what I did, just so you know.
I
Yeah,
feel
I'm okay
like
with
you
that.
don't actually want me to answer these questions, so I'm just gonna say sure.
I just want your approval, Dave.
You're not
No,
gonna
you
get
don't.
it.
You want me to
ever.
lie to you, Nick? That's what you want. You don't want me to
Never.
be honest.
No,
well,
I just want
the listeners want you to be honest, Dave. So why don't you honestly answer for the listeners' sake as opposed for Nick?
I think Kittel is very talented.
He's never been hurt.
But he's injured all the time.
Here's the thing. Ready? I could say this. You shouldn't draft Kendall Martay because he's injury prone, but Dave can't say that because he gets. But I can't. No, I'm kidding. But I actually drafted Kendall in my last league. It was a 12-teamer though, so a little different. I feel like that's where I feel like you again knowing your formats. I mean, I'm okay with taking him at 15. He was actually on the board and was a top consideration of mine as well, Nick, when I took Brandon Lau. But
Brandon Lau's
the
off
health,
the board.
the health was the difference maker for me personally, and I'm a huge Kendall Martay guy. I mean, Justin will tell you we made a bet last year.
Yeah,
And-
the worst possible bet ever. It was,
But you bet against the health, and he missed half the year, so you weren't wrong to bet against the health.
I was right. The guy I picked to go up against Marte was an absolute train wreck in Castanera.
Castanera, baby.
Oh.
But I was completely right about Kendall Martay not being a guy who can stay
He
healthy.
still
Are
put
you
up
are
14
you are
home
you
runs.
victory lapping injuries right now? Because we don't do that.
You don't do that.
Yeah, no, you're not allowed to do that. I'm allowed to do whatever I want.
I just want to apologize to Dave for derailing us completely
Yeah.
here.
By the way,
I'm so sorry.
I forgot I had this sit next to me.
It's my bad.
Dave, I want you to come back on the show in a couple weeks because I want to talk to you about how you build this team.
Yeah, no problem.
Or I'm gonna DM you to either get you on this episode or this pod or the TGFBI pod, because I definitely want to see how you build it. It is not the craziest of strategies, but man, I don't know how you're gonna get all the offensive stats you need, plus the starting pitching.
Here's the thing: you can start any draft with any players as long as you have a draft plan. But the more focused you are with a guy, like if you take a guy like Vlad or like Otani, guys who are more difficult to build around, you have to have a definitive plan. And if you don't get those guys, like you're not as open to people who take more well-rounded players early, then you're leaving yourself open later in the draft to more possibilities. So it's certainly possible to still do it correctly. It's just really making it more difficult for you.
I just want to see how it's done because
I've got like I said, I got 3 DCs already where I took the same combo at the 2-3 turn. I had Trey Turner twice in those, and I had Tatis in one to start those. So obviously that's a huge edge that I'm not going to have here. But those teams, I mean, they ended up all right and pretty well balanced, even though I didn't take, a Mondesi, a Miles Straw, an all speed guy. So yeah. I do think I can make it work. It's really the starting pitching options that are going to be there for me at the 5-6 turn. If I can get 2 guys there that I feel, are ace level or close, right? If I can get 2 guys I'm comfortable with there,
I love the guys in that range.
And that's kind of why I'm okay doing it.
I mean, I think in a DC especially, I think it's a really good strategy. I don't know if I would have gone with it in the first round here, but I don't disagree with taking one in the second for sure.
I gotta test it out
one
here.
thing is here you can fab guys. Like in DC, you're just stuck with whoever you've got. So like you were saying, it makes more sense in a DC because you're just stuck with them. But and then you're hunting potential closers the whole rest of the DC if you don't get one of those top guys. So it really makes sense in a DC. Luckily, here you can fab if someone gets hurt or whatever, or one of these got magical like 7th inning guys becomes a closer all of a sudden. So you have that advantage in this league.
I ain't got to test it out here first and see if it works before I try it in a main. So
Wow. Hold on, Justin. Hey, this is just as important as the main event.
No, it is. It absolutely is.
But yeah, I mean, it's you definitely want to try this out before
Dave
you
left so he couldn't get in trouble. he just can't right his microphone. Fantastic.
Oh well, I was going to bring up Dave's team next.
Out of
Oh yeah, watch. He has Jacob deGrom, Shane Bieber. I think Corey Seager.
So Nick's seen my draft board already. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
How do you think Nick came up with his rankings?
Yeah, right. Of course.
So Dave is team, I believe, 3 on this draft, correct, Dave?
Correct. Yeah.
All right. So why don't you run through who you've taken you through 3 rounds so far?
I've taken Jose Ramirez, Josh Hader, and Salvador Perez through 3 rounds.
All right.
Talk about why you're building that way. I mean, I love Ramirez at 3.
Yeah.
I think he should be going at 2 personally, but so you got a little bit of a gift, in my opinion. But you took a closer and then you took a catcher. I'm not super on board with a catcher that high. But talk to us.
That hurts my feelings that you don't like my picks, Justin. I think I'm gonna go cry about it now.
I love Hader. I love Hader, but a catcher like Perez that high just seems risky.
People who know how to determine value better than we do think that he's a first round pick. And I think I tend to agree more to that. It really comes down to, I was looking at other catchers doing my lineup prep and realizing even in 2020 when they had the DH, guys like Will Smith didn't play DH as much as I thought they did. I guess I remembered incorrectly there. I just think that Salvador Perez and JTR have such a huge advantage in at-bats compared to everybody else. And Sal has also been making changes throughout the last couple of years, upping his power, all of his power statistics have continued to keep going up, and you pair by far probably the most at bats with the most power at the position, and he's just a really good hitter. And where you want to get the biggest differences is where, like, people's catcher 2 is one of the worst players you're going to have in fantasy. So, like, if I can get 2 really strong catchers, it's a massive advantage compared to other people. In the second round, I really would have liked to get an ace, but Woodruff, Beeler, Wheeler, and Scherzer all went a little bit before me in the second round. I really like Hader and Hendricks. I think they, with their ratios and strikeouts, are a massive upgrade to all the other closers. I do really like Iglesias too, but he's a little bit below them, a little tier below. Ramirez is just an all-around play. I mean, he gives you everything other than great average, but the average is still above average. So, good as I could hope for there.
And all 3 of your players are arguably the best of their position. You arguably have the best third baseman, the best closer, and the best catcher. It's not a bad start.
No, yeah,
I mean, it's not a bad start at all.
I liked it. The only other consideration was Teoscar in the third. I just ultimately don't think that Sal is much less than him, and the positional value difference is massive.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. Well, I guess. Other Dave.
Yep.
Wow.
Remind everybody where you can reach on social media and plug your work, because I don't want to forget that.
Yeah, sure. It's at Dave Chauvin. You can find my work, NBC Sports Edge, Roto World. Been there. This is going to be my 11th season there. So you can find anything there.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think I'm the only person who has not shown their draft. So
Show us your goodies.
I was about to say, about that healthy hog years.
Healthy hog. He went that route. Sam was trying to be like subtle about it, and Cubby Dole's like, "Show me the hog, baby."
All right, so I am in League 20. Yeah, I'm in League 25.
Justin put everyone in his league who's going to draft fast on purpose. He's like, okay, I know this guy.
It actually started off pretty slow, and then has really picked up in the evening.
Look at that! Look at
second
Kendall
base run right there.
Martay.
Yeah,
Kendall Martay in the 6th round from Team 13. What a pick! What a pick!
I'm not anti-Marte. I mean, I'm one of the. I like to get Dave riled up, but for the most part, I'm going to argue with Dave because he's a guy I'm willing to take a chance on. Not when I already have George Springer and DeGrom though. So
George Springer's Grom and Trout.
Yeah, Trout. Yeah. I'm not. I know the health
fine.
concerns.
Don't worry about Trout.
I'm more worried about DeGrom and Springer because I mean Springer. A healthy Springer is something we could dream on, but it's really just a dream at this point.
The pick or the guy picking 13 in this league is Justin Vreeland from Fantasy Alarm. And after he picked Alonso, he sent me a message asking me if I could ban him from taking Mets. Because he had taken 3 with his first 4 picks.
Oh my god!
I am picking 8 in this league. I started off Garrett Cole. I was hoping I would get Burns because I didn't think Cole would be available for me at 8. And the way the board fell, he was. So I took Cole, and then I debated Wheeler versus Mullins, and I ended up going Wheeler just because I felt like Wheeler's my number 3 starting pitcher.
Ooh, really?
And so I took my number 1 and my number 3 in with my first 2 picks in a 15-team league. I just felt like that really set me apart from a lot of the other teams in the league. The only other person who went pocket aces was Team 10 with Burns and Scherzer. Took Trevor Story in the 3rd round. I had really hoped that Whit Merrifield was going to fall to me, and I thought there was a decent chance it could. But Team 4 took him, and then the little pitcher run went. So I felt a little light on speed. I'm probably going to regret it, but I took
McDonald. How do you feel?
I took Mondesi in the 4th round. So yeah, he's. I know it's a risk, but I feel like the rest of my team is really safe.
You have a T-shirt made after you. You haven't learned, have you?
I took one.
I'm joking. I actually,
and to be honest,
I wasn't listening.
If there is a shortened season, I think that benefits
Mondesi. Mike,
I
gotta say this. I gotta say this really quickly though. I was in the hotel when Mason came out of that draft, and what did I say? Great team, Justin.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't say get the wambulance at the end of the year.
Like
That's
I
what I said.
Nick doesn't like honesty.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave.
Oh, no.
Stop it.
I mean,
no,
I
was joking.
Drafted a good team.
Justin, I literally
we all were like, good job.
I tuned
it helps
out
more to be honest with
saying.
people than to just tell them they drafted a great team. I'm just being honest with you. That's much
it
more.
It went as bad as it could
honesty.
have gone.
Yeah,
There's a world where that worked.
There is no world where that works, Nicholas. No world.
Do you know how
Nicholas.
worlds work?
He went full Nick.
If there were a million universes in the multiverse, that would still not work.
I'm going to agree.
I thought you were being honest.
I'm going to agree with Dave, because in no world does the team I drafted in 2019 work. There are other worlds where it would have gone better, because I mean, I drafted.
That's fine.
I drafted 6 guys who were dealing with injuries, and I ended up having 18 hit the IL in the first month. So like, it's like, don't get me wrong, I put on way too much risk. I also got just screwed.
That was bad. I remember listening to your pods and laughing out loud at your mental anguish.
My catcher 2 broke his wrist 15 minutes after I drafted him in that draft. Like, I mean, it's like,
at least we have no spring training right now, so you're good to draft right now.
So
except for Josh Young.
So
there you go.
The only thing I was really worried about when I drafted in the 5th round was saves. The closers had started to go pretty fast, but Aroldis Chapman fell to me.
That's crazy. Getting Chapman and Smith there, it's great.
Yeah, and then Will Smith made it all the way back around. I would have taken
crazy.
Smith had Chapman not been available to me in the 5th. So I felt like, I was talking recently with Jenny Butler on the Sleeper on the Bus episode this last Sunday, and one of the questions we had from Twitter was, how many closers are you comfortable with taking as your closer one, right? And we both, Jenny and I, agreed that there were 8 guys, and Will Smith is the last of those 8. And so now, the reason I did not compete in my TGFBI league last year is because of saves. That is not going to be a problem for me this year.
Nope.
I definitely will be hitting offense.
You're gonna have different
hard.
problems now.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely be hitting offense hard from here on out. But I like my start. It's definitely got a little bit of risk with Mondesi, but if I draft smart rest of the way, I should be okay. So
all right,
now
here's a closer question. Does anybody have any concerns with Ryan Presley?
No,
I don't.
Not a ton, except for Rob DiPietro.
Yeah,
tweeted something about.
Well,
about
I really
Hector Neris
wish he didn't do that, because I had already had that thought, and I was like, I'm avoiding Presley like the plague, man.
How many times have we seen Neris just fumble every opportunity? Basically,
yeah, but it's not even that I'm saying it will happen, but the probability is much higher than I'd like it to be, because people want to give guys the closer label before they've actually earned it. Like, he's actually only been the closer for like 1.5 seasons.
How much longer do you need?
Yeah,
he's
a closer in Houston.
3 years is what I've.
Can you honestly, besides what I'm genuinely asking, besides a handful of guys, how many of them have that track record you're looking for?
Well,
right now, entering 2022,
not even Class A.
It's not about right. I'm not taking Class A either. But
and you're
I don't
want
to
Guardians guy.
But this is why people get frustrated with closers, because people assign a level of security to them before they've actually achieved that. I mean, if I'm going to be taking a guy like that, I want it to be much, much later. If it's going to be a guy I'm investing in early, it's going to be a guy I literally have zero qualms about taking.
I think what you're doing is just confirming that we should get rid of saves and steals in all fantasy. That's what you're doing right now.
It's a strategy, Nick. You got.
No, it's an absolute pain that talk for ages about it, but it's
that's
like
the game
that's part of the
play.
fun. That's the game. The game is the game.
It's the worst part of the game.
It's no, but it's not though, because I mean, here's the thing, like, and I've had this argument with a number of people over. I
have it with my friend Tony every day.
Yeah.
I love Tony. Tony's the best.
Yeah, Tony's great. Tony's great.
He hates you, Nick.
What?
At the end of the day, fantasy baseball is a game. I give you the rules, you play the game. Like, you don't get to just change the rules to make the game easier. You play the game.
But you can change the rules technically. Just has to be a home league.
Not my contest, you can't.
Not in my house.
Not in Greg Ambrosius's contest either, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
No chance.
No
I'm really
saves or steals.
About this 3-year rule that you have with closers, because that seems to be the shelf life for 80%, 70% of the closers out there, that they'll close for 2 to 4 years and then they're done. They're washed up. It seems like it's very uncommon for a closer to get more run than that these days.
And I think that's his argument, because there's a couple guys going after Presley. I guess he would prefer, because they have a safer role entering the year in his eyes.
Even Kenley Jansen,
how do you consider Kimbrel
right now? I'm positive he's going to get the role. Like, he already has that label. He's going to get it.
So would you view Presley? Do you view Presley closer to a Gallegos type, where we think a guy? Their team's come out and kind of said the opposite though. Their team has kind of come out and said
Gallegos
we kind of want to mix them.
Yeah, Gallegos is more of a risk for sure. It's all about probabilities and relative levels of risk. It's not.
I'm trying to see. I'm just trying to see.
More afraid of Presley if it wasn't Hector Neris.
Yeah,
like someone who has really not been successful.
He has more experience than he does, and I understand that he's been.
He has more experience blowing games too.
Yeah, but but he's never been able to stay consistently good.
But he what pitch was it, Nick, that he added the last 2 years? Was
Splitter?
Cutter? No. Splitter. He's always.
You're talking about a reliever.
No, you don't know. Okay. All right.
Well, Dave, where are you on like Kimbrel then versus like Clase, a guy who has 1 year as a closer, not even a full year, versus Kimbrel, who's been a closer for 10 years or whatever, and then now he's not even in the role, so he has to get traded.
Yeah,
So
that's
are
a
you
good
gonna take
question.
the risk that he's going to get traded or not get traded over one of these other
You know,
guys
in that case, Tim, I just don't take either of them. I'm either going to invest early in the guys that I do believe in, or I'm just going to wait and take guys later, or a combination of those.
It's funny because when we listen to you talk, Dave, there are a lot of guys you say you don't like, which is fine. And between the injuries, between the unsecure things, it's funny you say this because then I look back at your team. It was a tag team with Jake. But I look back and I see some of the picks you made. I'm like, I actually like some of the picks you make. It's just funny because all we do is we hear a lot about guys you don't like, guys you're fading, which is very helpful, honestly, if you're willing to take all that in. But it's just like it starts making you wonder, like, well, who the hell's left on his board? But then that's why, like, you have to actually go look at one of your drafts to see who's on your board because you're more open than most in high stakes areas in terms of talking about player analysis in general. I'll give you that. But it is funny because most of your analysis is like, hey, I'm out on this guy and here's why. And maybe that's why people have this negative idea of what you try to give out because we don't hear a lot of the positives. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you haven't said one good thing about a player tonight, not because you're not trying to, but because I think naturally you're so used to defending why you're out on somebody versus why you're in.
He said something good about Sal Perez.
He did.
Sarcastically, but sure.
No, it wasn't sarcastic.
Because he drafted. I thought it was sarcastic.
Because he drafted, he would be negative about the guy he drafts.
I thought you were being sarcastic, and Justin, I was.
I said Watson good. I don't. What do you? I don't know.
I know, but
because you guys cue me. You're like, so Dave, what do you think about that? When you already know that I have.
I think I'm
certainly leaning into it. It's really fun.
If you just ask me about a random team, I'll be like, yeah, I think that's that. I like that pick. I told Nick I liked his Iglesias pick. I didn't
That's
say
true. You did say that.
Yes.
I didn't say anything about the other 3 picks, but Iglesias pick, I liked a lot.
And Justin, by the way, I was just giving you a hard time about the whole not learning from health thing. I'll be honest, I wasn't really listening or following what you were saying, so I looked up, heard Mondesi, and then I decided to give you a hard time. And then I looked at the rest of your team, like, oh, there's no other injury-prone guys.
Yeah.
What the hell was I talking about? But it was just,
Justin.
It was easy.
Look at this,
gotten so much better.
Richard Sands. Thank you, Richard Sands.
Richard Sands said,
once again,
when I started fantasy was 4x4.
This is ridiculous.
Hold on.
You guys changed the game to 5x5
because I'm going to refute this because and what Richard, for those who are listening and not watching the video, I implore you to go watch the video because we put the boards up and stuff like that. But if you're just listening, Richard Sands said when I started fantasy, it was 4x4, no saves or steals. That is not true. The original 4x4 had no runs scored and no strikeouts. That's how the original 4x4 game was played.
Maybe it was his league though.
Yeah, so
you don't know.
I played in the my
you don't know his life, Justin.
My first league was original 4x4 scoring, and it was no runs scored and no strikeouts for pitchers. There were saves and stolen bases.
That sounds.
You were in the 90s when there were no strikeouts in fantasy.
And because that's the game was started off in like the 80s.
And then you changed the game to be better, right?
I didn't change the game.
But I mean, that's what they did, and we all accepted that.
Who's determining?
So why not change it more?
Preach the word, Nick.
Because it's already reached its pinnacle.
Thank you, Sam.
Well, what are you going to add as category?
Who are you to decide that?
You know
McDonald?
what? Fine.
Who are you to decide it, Pollock?
Well, then let's let the people decide.
No, but here's the thing. Pollock sounds like an owner right now. Let's get 14 teams in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Let's get 14 teams in the playoffs.
Okay, hold on. Time out.
It's mean.
I have 2 wild thoughts here that I know that people don't agree with. That's fine. I'm going to say one. Who did not enjoy the 2020 playoffs a lot when it was 8 teams per league? And what do you know? At the end, it was the Dodgers, who we all expected to be there, against the Rays, who were the best team in the American League. Like, that is what we expected anyway, and we had a better playoff time of when we had 16 teams in it.
I'm with you, actually. I think there should be 14 teams in the playoffs.
Here's what I want, though. What I actually want
Screw you guys.
is not 14, not 12, not 16. I want it so that if you have a record above 500, you're in the playoffs. And then you can tier it based on, like, if you've won the division so that you maybe get a bye or so. But that would actually encourage teams to have winning teams. You're much closer to being in the playoffs and having a chance. There are more playoff games. It just innately makes sense. You have 162 games, and you have more games that you win than lose. You should be in the playoffs. That makes so much sense.
Then the argument would be: do we need 162 games to decide
Yes.
who's good enough to be there?
And
yes,
that's what,
no. It's not about getting
GT
50%. It's about then you got to decide who has the most wins, so you get the buys in the home field and all the favorable stuff.
The owners are still going to be cheap then, though, because then they're going to say, "Oh, I've got just enough to get to 500."
And that's
and then
the
I'm
argument
make my
against,
playoff money and.
GT Sundance has more teams in the playoffs, just cheapens the regular season, though. I'm okay with that.
That's why we play fantasy.
I love the playoffs. Like,
you can essentially have relative wild card. You do not want to play the wild card game right now, and you can have the same replicated thing. So it doesn't really cheapen it because you advance in the playoffs automatically.
I think 12 is the right answer. You give the 2 best teams in each league a bye, and then the other 4 have to, battle it out in a wild card round. It still gives the best teams an opportunity to compete. You don't allow in 50% of the majors into the playoffs. I'm all for expanded playoffs. I'm all for anything that gives me fucking baseball, as much baseball as possible.
Amen. Anything that gives us 162.
Yeah,
I really just care about fantasy baseball. So yeah, just get the season going.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I don't even watch.
Do you watch the sport at all?
I don't even watch the playoffs. I watch the Guardians now. That's about it. I mean, I watch baseball here and there when it has to do with my players, but I'm not like you. I don't love baseball just for baseball.
It shows in your analysis. I mean, what?
First of all, obviously that's completely fine, and you love what you want. I'm not going to say that. I will say, just watch my YouTube videos, and you'll love it. You'll love the sport. You'll see what's so great. And
Nick,
Dave.
I read your stuff. I follow your stuff. You know this, so it's not like it's not.
I didn't appreciate pitching as much as I do now. That part
going on.
It's a sweet science,
Dave. It's like what's going on. I just I don't love it just for the sake of it.
Speaking of which, Nick, why don't you
apologize to me at all?
Why don't you remind everybody to reach on social media and then plug everything you're doing over at Pitcher List?
Oh, hey guys, come on by. We have really cool player pages now. Seriously, go check them out. They're really cool. We have like Hard Contact, which is hard hit over plate appearance, which isn't anywhere else, and it's incredibly important, and you should be focusing on that a lot. So do that. And we have it for everybody. It's great. Amazing looking sliders like StatCast, but we have league rank too. So you can say like Kendall Martay was 9th in the majors last year among all hitters for hard contact for plate appearance. Just wanted to say that.
It's easier when he doesn't have as many plate appearances.
Whatever. He still had 370 of them last year.
That's not a full season.
I didn't say it was a full
season. All right,
it's a full half season.
That's a great
more than a half season.
I know you know a lot about pitching, but I didn't know if you knew that 370 plate appearances is not a full. Because you don't really
literally
cover
just
hitting.
Quoted that he had 370, and it's not in front of me.
370 innings.
But do you know what that number means?
I came in 60th last year.
He guessed his way
I
in.
was in the semis of tout. I've played this for 25 years.
The best part,
370
at bats. You realize that equates to like 100 innings at best for a pitcher, right? Like let's put that in terms you understand.
I'm aware of things, y'all.
Listen, I don't know if you've noticed anything.
Anyway,
I'm sure, Nick,
we're doing a great job. We're promoting Pitcher List here. What's great is that I only talk about starting pitching there.
Yes.
So check all my stuff there. Then we have all these staffers covering everything else about the game, not just fantasy, but also just baseball stuff. So check it out. We have a lot of stuff coming. And just come to Twitch whenever. We're just streaming, doing AMAs. It's great. Hang out.
Make sure you listen to all the Pitcher List podcasts. I just started the short.
All of them?
Who has time to listen to all of those?
Hold on.
I started episode 1 and
I 470.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Different pods.
For all the content, Dave.
I just started short hops.
It's so good,
and it is so good.
It's evergreen.
If anybody's a history buff like me and loves baseball, definitely go check that out.
No,
highly recommend it.
No, seriously, Dave. Like I understand, there's a lot of fantasy stuff, and like it's hard to keep. It's all time sensitive there. That one is just like. I know you don't like baseball for baseball. So don't listen.
I like it. I just I'm not obsessed with it like a lot of you guys are.
I don't know why I'm ragging on you so
totally
much today,
cool.
McDonald. I am so sorry.
Just listen to it when you're sleeping, like they
It's
teach
so
you to do in college when you're cramming for a final. Just put in pitcher lists in your ears when you're sleeping.
You know,
I
you like
was
It'll be
doing
only
it
de
while I was
fromage
doing
then,
dishes.
right?
you like
yeah.
what you like, guys. You got to be a little more inclusive here.
There you go. But yeah, short apps and tall tales. Justin, you should reach out to them if you want to be a guest on there. They would.
I would absolutely love
Yeah,
to
reach
be a
out to
guest
Noah
on there.
Scott.
Justin
He'll
has
bring you
never
on.
seen a podcast that he didn't want to get on and talk on. So yeah,
Sounds right.
You're mixing two of my favorite things: baseball
Right.
and
History major. Yeah,
and bullshit.
it's so good.
Yeah, and bullshitting. Yeah, exactly.
If only you were
wonder-
good at anything, though, Justin.
I wonder how many.
I don't need to be. I can do. I can be mediocre at
Right?
so many
No,
things.
no, I'm the king of mediocrity, Justin. Don't you take that from me.
Yeah,
That's my crown.
What has this turned into? All
A
of you are
shit-talking fest.
wonderful.
We were
Stop
just
this.
talking.
All right.
We are friends. This is what we do. This is how we show we like each other. Nick.
Dave McDonald, remind everybody where you can reach on social media and plug your work.
That's at Run D McD, and I just want to say that Jake just sent me a message saying they're talking about Cody Morris on In the Deep right now. So there's a Pitcher List podcast right
Yes! There you go. And you can reach me on Twitter at Justin Mason FWFB. You can catch me on the Sleeper on the Bus podcast, TGFBI podcast, and of course the Friends of Fantasy Benefits podcast. I'm writing daily at Fangraphs. For everybody who joined us tonight, thank you. Have fantastic baseball season.